Hello again and welcome to another video. Today we are in my playroom and I want to show you my SimFlight setup. At the beginning of my SimFlight career, I was starting on my office desk. With the office computer, I changed the graphic card and the power supply, and it was not so bad. To flying in VR, I used a used joystick kit. And but now everything changed. One time divorce and things like that. No, I'm just kidding. But now it's very funny to fly with this system. And now I believe we're starting with a computer. 1.5 years ago I built a new computer with a gaming board inside, a 3080 Ti, and the CPU is an i9 10900K and a memory cache of 32 GB, and not the slowest one. And now with this system, it's absolutely reliable. Almost all the adjustments setting to ultra. If you come on a big airport like Frankfurt or JFK, the FPS drops a little bit down, but it's absolutely flyable. And now I want to show you my my system. And my name is Marcus. I'm a General Aviation pilot since more than 20 years, and come on, let's have a look. These are the TPR THRUSTMASTER rudder pedals. And at the first beginning I started with Logitech rudder pedals, but now with these ones it's a different world. I put it on an extra spring parallel to the default springs to get a little bit more resistance during the movement due to the P factor. Because in climb, to compensate the P factor, it needs a lot of force to push down the pedal, and now it feels much closer to the original. One of my steering devices is a HONEYCOMB alpha yoke, and it looks like and feels like an original Piper Cherokee one, and it comes with a lot of custom switches, trim switches, everything what you need. The ignition switch, it's sadly on the right hand side. Actually it must be in the middle or the left hand side, because your right hand you need it during engine start for the thrust levers. But it is like it is. And in my case I got one of the first generations. If you engage the starter, and this position is not spring loaded at my one, but the newer ones, there is, like you know that maybe from the original one, if you left your fingers from the knob and then it turns back to the both position. But I guess for this money you will not get a better one. Here another HONEYCOMB device. It's a HONEYCOMB Bravo, and it comes with an autopilot panel, a lot of custom switches again, a flap lever, a gear lever. On the left hand side you could see there's a trim wheel, and this knob on the right hand side is the control of the friction of the levers. And it comes out of the box with the General Aviation levers for a twin engine and a setup for Boeing. But the Boeing levers are much smaller than the original ones, and the handles of the thrust reversers are also functioning very well. On the left hand side of the rig, the HOTAS WARTHOG throttle handles. There feels like high class quality, and it's built of metal, and it's I believe it's a must have for jet flying. And here in the center of the rig there's a WARTHOG joystick. I got one from the A10 with an extension of 100 millimeters, and but this time it's mounted self-made stick for the General Aviation. It feels more realistic, if you in a General Aviation aircraft, if you don't use this from the A10, But to bring your own stick working with the HOTAS socket, you have to make you a dongle, because in the original joystick grip of the HOTAS there's a board inside, And here you can see there's my 3D printed socket of my self-made stick, and there's inside a PS2 adapter, old one, and on the other side of the connector there is connected a 100 ohm resistor between pin 1 and pin 3, and that's all what you need for the dongle to use the original HOTAS socket as a custom stick. The wires of the buttons are running through the stick over a connection cable to a joystick board, and then you have to configure the functions wherever you want in your sim. The next gimmick is a self-made fuel selector, similar to a fuel selector of a Piper Cherokee. The ring is 3D printed and the knob, and it also needs 3 buttons on the aft side and a joystick board. Here a bracket with 2 encoders. For 6-pack lovers, it's just to handle the HSI or the heading bug in flight, and compares to use a mouse is much more easier. But for this input device, it's not a standalone one. I use for this FSU IPC and Mobiflight to connect it to the sim. The next input device is a GNS 530 from Garmin, and it's also a do-it-yourself project from the past winter. And actually it was a box of a first aid kit from where we got in Europe in our cars, and it was an expired one, and yeah, now it's got a new life as a GNS 530, and it's working with Mobiflight, and all the buttons, the encoders are working. And yeah, you need just an Adurino mega board, Mobiflight, FSU IPC, and a little bit time. Yeah, you could not build this in one afternoon, yeah, in one evening, it's not possible. Yeah, but if you got time for building things like that during the winter seasons, I love it. And yeah, it weighs around about 50 bucks, and the original one from Real Sim Gear, it's around about 500. Yeah. By the way, the seat, I found it on eBay for a very small euro, and the weight of the seat, as without the cushions and other stuff, is just 5 kilograms. Is the absolute right one for a motion rig. Yeah. But now to the next input device. It's a self-made flap lever trim wheel and emergency gear down switch, and it's built as a standalone device without Mobiflight or things like that, just with in this case with the Adurino Leonardo board. And that is the way how it looks like under the cover. And you could see in the front is a dumper. The dumper is working in both directions, and yeah, it lets the handle feels a little bit more different, yeah, with this dumper. And there is a potentiometer in the middle, and you could see the gears. Yeah, I got in my case I got 4 turns from full nose down to full up the trim, and in the original Piper Cherokee this one got 5 turns, but it's very precise to control the trim, and it feels absolutely realistic in flight. And here you can see there's a camshaft who is attached to the lever, and the blades of the micro switches are running over the cams and gives the signal to a board, and then it knows flap 1, flap 2, flap 3, and yeah, and that's it. And the red brake bracket is just, you need now a little bit more force to turn the wheel, and it's not like the original, but it's very close to it. And here you can see how it works. You see the wheel is turning, and almost the same ways. It's not the same ways, but the same movements in the sim. Yeah, and with the flaps the same, first notch, second notch, the third notch, and yeah, and retract at the final, and it works absolutely precise. Yeah, it's nice to have, yeah, in case you are a Piper lover like me. Now we will talk about the output devices. Now here you could see there's a butt kicker. A butt kicker is a sound transducer, and it makes vibrations to the rig. It's powered by this small amplifier, and it allows me to do smaller adjustments during flight, and controlled is it by the software, and the software where I use for the motion rigs, the motion compensation, and the butt kicker is Sim Racing Studio. This software comes with a motion rig, and you have to imagine the immersion of the butt kicker. It's a game changer. I could absolutely advise you to buy one. And another output device is a VR headset. In my case I use HP REVERB G2, and yeah, it's the immersion to use a VR headset. It's in sim flight, it's absolutely game changer. I believe maybe for sim racing, if you are sitting in a race car, you're looking just in front of you, but in flying it's very different. Yeah, you have to look in the downwind, where's the runway. Yeah, and this is more realistic to use a VR headset. This REVERB G2 headset got excellent sound speakers, and the only thing where I changed is the mask. The default mask is for all the guys who want to using it. Yeah, for example with glasses. In my case, I don't use any glasses, and then I got this modification of this mask. This is a 3D printed one, and then you come closer with your eyes to the monitors in the VR headset, and your field of view is then more degrees wider than without this modification. Yeah. And last but not least, the motion platform at itself, and this one is a H3 from DOF Reality. I'm using it since a little bit more than 3 years, and I'm very happy with it. It got 3 axis, roll, pitch and yaw. 1.5 years ago I retrofitted the platform with its SFU gearboxes, and I just promise you this feels like a different motion platform compared to the default gearboxes like before. Here's a control unit of the platform, and the workmanship, it's absolutely high class quality. 2 times I used the support of DOF Reality, and they responded in less than 30 minutes via email. Almost 4 weeks after my order, 2 packages arrived at my place with all the parts, all the tools and all the screws where you need for assemble the motion rig. It took me around about 3 hours to assemble the motion rig, and I just can say all the parts fits together absolutely perfectly. This is one of the default gearboxes where I have replaced to the SFU gearboxes, and the backlash of the gears, but it's normal. This is the design of these gearboxes, yeah, and you could feel this during the movement, and now with the SFU gearboxes, it is absolute precision, the movement. Yeah, there's no backlash between any movement where you could feel. Here you could see the motion platform in action with my girlfriend, and you see all the movements are very smooth, yeah, because we are in sim flight, yeah, and compared to sim racing, the air is like rails actually. Yeah. Okay, sometimes it could a little bit bumpy in summer or so, yeah, but in 7 of 10 times it's really absolute flying. Is like on rails, yes. Here one of the activators for pitch and roll in action, and they are running very, very quiet. Probably it's the most quietest motion platform on the market where you could get. In my case, on my rig, the BUTTKICKER, it's so noisy. You can hear the BUTTKICKER in the basement also. The vibrations are running through the whole house. If you are using a motion platform in VR, there's one thing, from my opinion, that's absolutely mandatory, and this is the motion compensation. The motion compensation is supported by the Sim Racing Studio software, and you need the OpenXR motion compensation tool, and it needs a with motion attitude sensor. It's like a 2-axis gyro, and who's then attached to the motion rig. The reason why you need motion compensation in VR is if you increase 20 or 30 degrees of banking, then it looks like for you in VR you're running out of the cabin to the left or to the right side, yeah. And to be compensated for this, the Sim Racing Studio software calculates with all the data from the tracking system of your headset, from the width mount attitude sensor and the virtual tracker of the OpenXR compensation software, your position all the time new, and that let you stay in the right position behind your yoke or your stick during the heaviest roll or pitch movements, right? And it's not like you are fixed in the cockpit. The system can distinguish the different movements of you, the aircraft or the motion seat. Now in slow motion, and you can see the difference. Left hand side without motion compensation or the right hand side with, and it's a different VR experience with the motion compensation. Now we are on the website of DOF Reality, and you could see there's a H3. This is a platform where I use, and oh, there's a special offer this time. Oh yeah, you could save 330 euros. But if you just want to fly fixed wing aircraft, I believe the H2 will the right one for you. And then you save, oh, it's almost $500 for the H2. And then you could spend this money where you save. Yeah, you could spend it on the SFU gearboxes. And then I guess you will be fine with this configuration then. And here, during a helicopter flight, you can see there's a little bit more action on the yaw axis, yeah, compares to a fixed wing aircraft. Hey, it's me again. Yeah, now we are at the final of the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I just want to last one word about motion. Less motion is more motion, yeah. It doesn't make sense to adjust your motion rig to 30 degrees to the left or to the right. Yeah, this is ridiculous. You never will have on a general aviation flight. You will have movements like this. Yeah, and it's a final. We just want to cheat our brain. Yeah, and that's all. And if the brain is very busy during flight, and if there comes vibrations there, the VR headset, and anything is a little bit, everything is a little bit moving around you, and that's all what we need, a perfect simulation. And just let it feel very close to the reality. Yeah, and that's all. Yeah. And then I wish you always happy landings, and yeah, maybe see us at the next video. Yeah, take care of you. Bye bye.